Hiagwit. Piep. Try on the ghrá. Turka agam ditch. Well, enough of Irish right now. Still trying to learn it when I can find the time, and I don't have a lot. Well, guys have been busy. I've been busy out in the world too. There was a young teenage girl that was taken into a church exorcism, to where they wanted to exorcise some demon out of her of some sort. I think this was in France. The so-called church is Seventh-day Adventist. You'll never hear me ever claim that they're of the way. And they took this poor girl and they kept her for about 7 days, performing these rituals or whatever they came up with. She died of dehydration. They only gave her a little bit of water and some oil and nothing else. So that, plus everything else they were putting her through, she dehydrated and, well, died. The 4 men are up for trial. Murder should be one of them. They kidnapped her against her will and held her against her will as a captive. That's 2 and 3. And they tortured her to death. One of the men that was there was a supposed prophet. Not by a long shot. No. Couldn't be. You can't force somebody to do something against their will. I mean, there's times where I wished I could, but it's not possible. This brings up the whole subject of free will, you know. What is free will? Well, free will is the choice of doing right or wrong. For the world, it means more. It means, well, I can get up in the morning, or I can say, forget it, I'm going to sleep in. Or, I'm going to do what God says, or I'm not going to do what God says. I'm going to follow His word, or I'm not going to follow His word. That's what it really means. Because if you're really His, and one of His kids, you're not going to do those things that He does not wish. So you just lost the whole function of free will. It's like being a child to a parent. A small child doesn't exactly have free will, do they? Agreed that they can go out and do right or wrong, which means going against their parent. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, well, they have free will, really. I mean, yeah, they can run away from home depending on their age, or do something else that's tomfoolish. But you don't really have it. Even in the world, you really don't have it. You can work, do a job, get paid, and then provide for your way. Or you don't. Starve. Or live on the gratitude of others for what they've done for you. Because unlike what's being portrayed right now in Britain, you don't have a right to be nursemaid. which is what the British people are going through right now. And I got a few friends in Britain. But you don't have that right to be nursemaided. You have to work for a living. You have to provide for yourself. You have to provide for your wife, your family. You have obligations to uphold. So the true use of the word, at least the way it's used in the world, for free will, doesn't exist. Not even there. There's always consequences to your actions, no matter what you take. So if somebody says, well, you have free will to do this and that, well, the only free will you have is to do right or wrong. To do good or to do evil. I mean, it's not unheard of that a woman that's very close to me has said a lot of things that are not true. And created a situation I would have rather not have had. And so on and so on and so forth. I mean, the rest of it's really private. It's between her and me. But where's the free will? If I exercise my free will, that would be abridging upon her free will. So there's limitations to everything. I mean, I don't want her to end up like, imprisoned or captive or treated badly. That's not who I am. Of course, she doesn't really know who I am. Sort of got a little edge on her on that. Well, we're not here to belittle her, but she is slightly an example because I'm using her in some of the most strangest things I've read in the past year or so. So, we'll use her for that. I mean, I wouldn't want to hold her captive. I wouldn't want her to do something against her will. You see, to do so would be wrong. It'd be evil. So if somebody says, well, you have free will, well, you do until your will comes up against somebody else. Because one way or the other, even if you did, you will pay for it. One way or another. So, as much as I love ghrá, which is one of the things I said earlier, I would never wish to hurt her. Want her around. Need her, actually. But you can't force things. And I'm not the type of person that she always advertises me to be. Because she does know me. She just, well, there's more to it. So going back to the girl in the exorcism, which is the real point. And I apologize, my girl. I didn't mean to go too far into it. One of the men was her boyfriend. And he took her into this thing, this exorcism supposedly, against her will. In front of a man who is clearly not a prophet. Now, prophet can mean two words in English. Actually, I think it comes out of the Greek, is where the prophet part comes from. I think it's Greek origin. But it means one or two things. A person who can foresee the future, or a teacher. Well, the guy might be a teacher, but he's teaching wrong. So, in that regard, he's no better than Elizabeth. Because he abused her free will. The right to live. the right to be where she wanted to be, the right to drink, eat, and whatever else that they denied her. Because the truth of the matter is, they tortured this poor girl, and she died. And if one of the men was actually truly in love with her, he wouldn't have put her in that situation. One of the things I've learned in life, people usually pick the worst mates possible. And never ones are good for them. Even years later, they'll prop them up in some type of white sanctuary type of thing. Remembering the good things and whatever was bad, coloring it up to make it better than it was. Seen it a lot of times. Seen it. I had a friend once. I knew he was going to be divorced far longer than he did. And I warned him. I said, you still have a chance to save it. Stop antagonizing her. If you're antagonizing, you're insulting her, you're belittling her, and she doesn't like it. No, that's how we play. That's how we play. That's how he played. Exactly her feelings 2 years later was just what I said. Insulting, belittling, attacking. He didn't go up and said, I can't remember her name, whatever her name is, I love you, or I care for you, or thank you for doing this for me, or something. No gratitude. It was like, it's her job, that's what she's there for, and that's what she's going to do. I don't care. I'm the Lord of the manor, and that's the way it is. Again, free will taken to extreme. So the truth of the matter is, the only free will that exists is the free will to do right or wrong. Everything else is nonsense. Well, take care. Have a good day. Ghrá. Minshila. Ghrá. Agam. Dish. Shabbat. Shalom.